everybody who's actually have the recording used.
We can delete it if it's a problem. But
alter their voices and pixelate their faces. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for everyone coming out tonight, and thank you to everybody who's on Zoom. I don't know.
No, other way.
You could also, if you really wanted to have lights on, you could like turn the lights on back there in the other room. So.
Carry on.
Okay. Anyway, so thank you all for coming out. Coming up now, next month, as Derek said, the next 2 months are going to be Zoom meetings. We will not be gathering here in person for a couple of months. And the January speaker is actually still a bit up in the air. I've had, I think, 3 or 4 different people who have had conflicts and been unable to speak that night. So, but I have a couple of prospects I'm waiting to hear back from. So, so watch your email and the club website and the club newsletter, all your usual Hampshire Bird Club information sources for updates on that front. February, as you might already know, we have Rosemary Moscow, the cartoonist who does Bird and Moon comics, giving us our February Zoom presentation. Then when we reconvene in person in March, we'll be hearing from Marjorie Melnick. She, I believe, said she was going to be doing a program about Sri Lanka, where she is spending some time actually between now and then. So I think she said January she'll be in Sri Lanka, and March she will be here to tell us about it and show us pictures of it. So, and
I'm going to get Rosemary Moscow to sign my dictionary.
Yeah, I don't know, doing it over Zoom could be tricky, couldn't it? So, yeah. You may have to. I believe she moved to Canada, so you may have to cross the border or mail it to her. So, Arn?
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe people thought it was too dark when all the lights are off. This to me seems too light to really get the full appreciation. I mean, in the old meetings, we had it pretty dark for the slide shows. It was never like this. It was never lit this at all. I mean, I don't know if presenters who need light for their whatever they're going to do.
Well, we will work that out, I guess. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, and then we've got Dan Sheldon coming to speak to us from UMass, coming to speak to us in April, and May and June are still in negotiation. But I have some prospects who I'm talking to about that. So, in any case, tonight. In Geoff LeBaron's words, the program is you, and 6 of you are stepping up to speak with us tonight. So, without further ado, why don't I go ahead off the title slide? Let's see. I'm hitting the wrong control, apparently, Derek, to progress the slideshow. Yeah, no, I tried that. Yeah, where'd your mouse go? Oh, there it is.
Go back to the seat.
Yeah, get the. Okay, and as you can see on the screen, our first presenter will be Professor David Spector.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know who that person is with all that dark hair. But, before going any further, I want to thank Josh, who has wrestled with, about 37 different formats to get them into one show. So thank you, Josh. Let's see. What about here? Will that?
This is the touchpad here.
Oh, I see. What about hitting these? Will that work? Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So I think many people in this room are very familiar with Christmas bird counts and the experience of doing a Christmas bird count, but there may be some people here who are not familiar with the Christmas bird count. So I thought I'd show an image of what a Christmas bird count looks like. And for those of you who are going out on Sunday, this is what you may reasonably expect to see. First, I'll give credit where credit is due. This is a painting by Ree Munoz, who, despite the Dutch first name and Hispanic last name, spent most of her life as an artist in Alaska. And here's the full painting. We'll do a little bit of close-up here. You can reasonably expect to have red noses and red cheeks. Gloves and boots are highly recommended. And you may want to think about locating this painting. Notice that the houses are on stilts. This is clearly in an area, a tidal area, and an area with rather extreme high and low tides. Now, this is a bird that any of us may see on Sunday on the Northampton count or on any of the other counts here in the Connecticut Valley. It's also a bird that is of some particular relevance to this club, as it was the topic of the very first program presented at the Hitchcock Center 41 years ago Dave Nelson presented on the reintroduction of eagles to the Quabbin Reservation. This is bald eagle. Now here's another bird that we have a chance of seeing, although with most of the garbage dumps in the area converted to transfer stations, there are fewer of these. This is a bird that might be seen anywhere here in North America, the herring gull, or for those of you who want the split, the American herring gull. Notice the red dot on the lower bill. That eliminates a lot of species. The bold black and white pattern on the wingtips eliminates a lot of other species. So herring gull here. And with a little imagination, when you have a flock of gulls flying 1,000 feet overhead, you can easily distinguish the herring gulls from the ringbill gulls, right? Now this bird is interesting because when the painter painted this was a bird we could not see here. But today we could see this species here. When she painted this was the northwestern crow. But just in the last couple of years, the people who decide on listing have decided that the northwestern crow is actually a subspecies of the American crow. So we can see American crows here. And again, as they're flying 1,000 feet overhead, you'll easily distinguish them from the fish crows. And I'm not showing, but elsewhere there are some ravens here, larger crows. Okay, two species here. On the bottom, you have red-breasted merganser, something you could easily see on the Massachusetts coast, and if you're very lucky, see them in migration here, and if you're very, very lucky, see them on a Christmas bird count. A little higher up in the image, there is yellow-billed loon. Notice that the culmen, the line of the upper bill is straight across. The bills are all yellow. Species, I'm one of the people who a few years ago. Got to see one of these off of Race Point, but if you should happen to see one on a Christmas bird count, bring your pencil and paper along because you're going to be asked for a lot of details. Here. Again, species that you might see here in the Connecticut Valley in migration, quite unlikely on the Christmas bird count though, white-winged scoter. And the scoter with the brightest feet of the three species of scoter, the surf scoter, and on one of these, here, if you look closely, you can see a little bit of a pale nape mark there. And the tail of a bald eagle. Now, this is the bird that allows us to locate this Christmas bird count, at least to within a couple of 100 miles or so. Red-faced cormorant. And should you see one of these on the Christmas count on Sunday, don't bring a pencil and paper. Bring your psychiatrist along. And a breathalyzer. Now, Ree Munoz lived much of her life in Southeast Alaska, but the red-faced cormorant does not occur in Southeast Alaska. The area of overlap between the red-faced cormorant and what used to be the northwestern crow is along the south-central coast of Alaska, mainland Alaska. So somewhere, perhaps in the Anchorage area, plus or minus 100 miles or so there in south-central Alaska. So again, this is the name of the painting and the artist, and this is preparation for Sunday, the whole view, and our next speaker.
Whoa, there's dark hair too. That's pretty resourceful that you guys found that photograph. God. Is this? This is Vance. All right, thank you. So I'm completely intimidated. I'm just going to say that. But I am brave enough to do this because I'm really, very much less knowledgeable than everybody in this room.
Use the microphone, please.
Sure, where is the microphone? That?
The wireless one's there.
All right. It's gonna take some, there we go, some coordination, but I'll do my best. So obviously I had a lot more dark hair then, but this is amazing that Josh found this picture. I was actually the director of a watershed organization in Philadelphia with the longest name ever, the Tacony Frankfurt Watershed Partnership. And that's at an event. And the picture, I just have to tell you this because it's really wonderful. We were in an old dye factory, that's where our office was. And there were a bunch of artists. We were like the least interesting people in the building. And we had an artist that had done a triptych, and what's behind us is one of those. She gave them to us when we moved into a new space to sort of beautify the space. Anyway, so that's kind of fun. That's really a walk down memory lane and aging lane. So, my husband and I really love Canada. Our son went to McGill, and I grew up in Boston, and we've always been sort of maritime Canada focused. So we've been to New Brunswick, we've been to Newfoundland, but I retired about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and the trip that we decided to take with our Airstream, the longest trip we've ever taken, was all the way to Labrador. So if you really want, we decided we probably would only go to Labrador once, but now we're having trouble keeping to that because we really loved it and want to go again. But this is how we managed to get there. I think it was 10 ferries. And we basically decided we needed to, we sort of worked our way up to Labrador and worked our way back. The other thing, and this wasn't specifically a birding trip, because again, we're not bird experts, but we always look for birds and use, if it wasn't for Merlin, we would be in very tough shape. But one of the other things about this, just to mention, is that I always wanted, this was a trip to go to Labrador and then 2 specific islands that I always wanted to go to, and I don't even know how I found out about them. One of them is called Ile de Madeleine, and it's off the coast of Newfoundland, and it's part of Quebec. And I highly recommend it. It's really different. Everyone speaks French. There are no Americans there. They actually feel bad for us at this point and want to know how we're doing. But it's a beautiful island that's eroding really quickly and has a lot of natural spaces. And Canada and the provinces really support nature and everything. So it was quite a trip. It was really interesting. And then I also always wanted to go to St. Pierre, which is part of St. Pierre and Miquelon. It is still, that's off the coast of Newfoundland as well. Can you see that? Ile de Madeleine is there. And then St. Pierre is further up. Thank you. Thank you. So these are not, look at where we had to go in Newfoundland to get to St. Pierre. So St. Pierre is still France. And we probably should have gone there at the beginning of the trip, not the end, because the food was incredible. Because it is still France. People take 2 hours for lunch in the middle of the day. It's very charming, and it's also, like many of these places, had been a place that really relied on fisheries and on cod fisheries. So that's sort of one of the themes that we found. Anyway, I can't think of a better place to go look for birds. So you all have to do this next. We're happy to share information. It was 6 weeks together in a small space, but we had a really incredible time. Okay, and then this is very brief. This is right after I retired. And we did this crazy trip because we wanted to go, I don't know where we were going. We wanted to do sort of the Great Lakes. Oh, and I wanted to go to the headwaters of the Mississippi. Sort of at the end of my watershed life, I wanted to do that. And that's, so, this is sort of how it's this big square. And we went some incredible places on the way as well. But we did, again, there's, these are places to go where you get to see a lot of birds, and it's pretty remote. So going to we spent a lot of time in, where is it? So there's Bemidji, that's where the headwaters of the Mississippi are. And then I'm trying to see, we spent a lot of time in Voyageur National Park. That was sort of the destination. So, I can't say enough about how fabulous these places were. We didn't stop in Hibbing. Who knows who was from Hibbing?
I do.
Mr. Dillon and a basketball player whose name I can't remember right now, a Celtic, but very good.
Kevin McHale, maybe?
Maybe Kevin McHale, yeah. So there's that, and we on the way home, we went through Parry Sound, and you probably know this too, who's from Parry Sound?
New York.
Exactly. So these were really fun places to go to for some of those reasons too. We're kind of weirdos about some of that stuff. So this is a picture actually that wasn't on any of those maps. What kind of gull is this? See, I'm just going to ask you guys. That's what I decided I would do. So this is on Grand Manan Island on the Bay of Fundy. And this is an area where, I think my husband took this picture. I think it's supposed to be video.
Yeah, if you just tap on the picture, it should play the video.
On the picture,
Maybe with the...
Oh. Magic. So how much cooler is that? So this is, like, we went to a restaurant up there and the tide was out. So we walked down to the water and saw this incredible seagull. And it was much more fun, it's much more fun on video than it is just a still, so. And, you know, I don't know, I'm sure some of you guys have been to Grand Manan Island. Oh, there we go. Grand Manan Island is off the coast of New Brunswick. It's, again, another Canadian place where Canadians go for vacation and Americans don't.
It's also off the coast of Maine, more or less.
Yeah. You get there from a little bit above St. Andrews, New Brunswick, from a place called Black Harbor. But there's a lot of birds. It's really beautiful. And there was something else I was going to say about.
See the timeline.
Yeah, and you can look at that. It's you know, the tides up there are incredible, but this was a pretty cool spot. Also, Willa Cather vacationed in Grand Manan Island. So, so here's our friend. What kind of seagull is that? Look at him.
Young, immature.
So this is, you know, it's funny, I can't see the names of the slides. It's weird. So I believe this is on Ile de Madeleine. I'm going to keep going. And again, we are not professional photographers either. We decide most of the time that we're going to actually try to see the birds ourselves. And if we get a good picture, it's sort of a miracle. That seems like a pretty good one. So this is Ile de Madeleine. It is eroding incredibly. There's buildings that are right on the shore where there's cliffs, and they have to keep sort of fortifying and everything because it's so eroding so much. So this is a guillemot, right? Yeah. So there was that. That's a pretty nice picture. We went out on a little boat trip. Some cormorants. And this is another, there we go. Can you hear him? I think so. So there again, there were some beautiful nature preserves there, and I caught this guy. I think I probably stood in this spot for about 45 minutes waiting to get this shot, but it was really wonderful. It's a place called Les Silons. There's some friends. I think we're back in Newfoundland. So here we go. What are these guys?
Semi-palmated clovers.
Yeah. They're really hard to see because they're really small, as you guys know, and really fast. You just have to, I feel like you're just looking for movement on the beach to actually be able to see them. And these are, you know, the heroes of our trip, the puffins. That I think for a phone is a pretty great shot. We went out on a boat ride, you know, with a local fisherman who knew everything, and took us out to this rock in Newfoundland. I think that so, you know, that's why we had gone out on that boat trip, so we were pretty amazed. Those are all puffins. We were in a place called Happy Adventure, and, you know, they advertise, it's sort of near Terra Nova National Park in Newfoundland, and they advertise as, you know, you go out on this boat trip and you see the puffins, and we indeed saw the puffins. It was just astounding how fast they were and how many were around us. Is this another one? Yes. So I think this is from Terra Nova as well, Terra Nova National Park. We were there for like 5 days.
The slide title of this one is Placentia.
Oh, it's Placentia. Never mind. Thank you. So this is before we were getting on a ferry on the way back. So that is in Placentia, Newfoundland. Places sort of look the same, don't they? Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome. If you need more names of the slides, I have them open on my computer, so I can tell you the slide titles.
Is that Happy Adventure?
This is Sandy Cove.
Yeah. So this is on that same boat trip. So we saw, you know, herons, we saw eagles, and then this is really fun to get this to. That's another little guy in St. Lawrence, Newfoundland, I'm pretty sure. So that's a common yellowthroat, right?
Yeah.
So actually being able to, being able to get that little video was kind of incredible, and it makes standing there all the worthwhile. That was a spot where there had been a couple of shipwrecks right around World War II on this, and there was a sort of a park and an exhibit memorializing the people in the town who came down and helped get Americans off the ships in the winter. It was pretty intense. I don't know what this is. This is my husband's video. I said, what and where is that? And he was like, I don't know. It was very windy. Should I go back?
The slide says Terra Nova.
So that was, it was on a walk in Terra Nova.
No, look at see the big white patch under its wing?
Is that a white-throated?
White-throated sparrow.
So we ran into a lot of them, not as windy as this one. And then here is, I think this is probably Terra Nova 2.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of fun. There was some woodpecker goings on in this location, which was on a great walk in Terra Nova. This is in Parry Sound.
This is another video.
Yeah, thank you. So here's the Parry Sound one. We had been to Parry Sound on our first trip together, like 40 years ago, to pay homage to Bobby Orr. And the town is really lovely. It's really changed. I mean, they've really protected the nature. It's beautiful, but now there's restaurants there and trails and everything. It was a really fun place, a fun spot to go. And, it's Ontario, so everybody speaks English. Is this, what, all right. That was a video, right? I think, what does this say, Josh?
Prince Edward Island.
So this is I'm sorry, we're really skipping around here. So that, we were befuddled by what are the two kinds of yellow legs? Which one was which? But the head is up and down is pretty adorable there. So that was kind of fun. And I think this is the last slide. So this is, again, sort of jumping around, but trying to be in Canada. We also went to 2024 is a very big year for us. Again, I retired, and we really did a lot of traveling. So we went on an Alaska cruise, and this is in Vancouver at a park where we sat for a really long time because we could hear an incredible number of birds, and we were really trying to see somebody. So this is a spotted towhee, right? So remember Vancouver.
Yeah, I think it is, but boy,
Isn't it weird?
yeah, something that's missing a lot of feathers.
Yeah, it's a pretty creepy.
It's like a Toby crossed with a black vulture.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty great picture, but it is actually a little bit creepy. So I think that's it for me. So thank you. I just, this.
Sorry, was that a bad choice, Henry?
So thank you, everybody. Again, the club has been wonderful because I feel like you really embrace people who aren't experts and don't have the time to be experts, but really need to get out. I do a lot of resistance work. I'm with Indivisible East Hampton. I'm doing a lot of work to try to protect our democracy. And if I didn't take walks with you guys, I would be completely stressed out. So this is, it's really been sort of a gift for me. So thank you. That's fabulous. Whoa, look at that. That is pretty fabulous.
Tell me if you want me to use a mic, otherwise I won't. How do I advance this? Just the arrow? Yeah. Okay. So I am a professional juggler. I'm still performing. I was a little younger in that photo, though. In January of 2024, I went to Mexico to visit my sister in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. But after we made all the plans, she said, oh, we're not actually going to be there part of that time. So I was going there to visit her, but instead we went to central Mexico, to Michoacan, and went to see the butterflies. And this is really a dream come true. I highly recommend it. So I'm not a great photographer. The video is a little choppy, but there's just 10, 20 million monarch butterflies in the spot. So this is just one tree, but if you imagine completely surrounding you, everywhere is just butterflies. This is what it looks like. So how do I hit play?
You can just click on the image with the mouse.
So those clusters look like the dead tree, but when you get in close,
We had this in Santa Cruz, California also.
yeah.
Not that many. 30 years ago.
You know, it just goes everywhere. I mean, just incredible.
When we went to visit, there was a cold snap and rain the day before we arrived, and they were gone.
Oh, no. No, they were there, we were there. It's a long hike. We actually took a horse. We rode horses up part of the way, but it's 11,500 feet, and we weren't quite used to that. So from there, I went to visit my sister for a little while, Puerto Vallarta, and we went up into the mountains from there. And we took a wrong turn on a trail. This was in a little park. And so we were about to turn around, and all of a sudden something caught my eye, and this was the only elegant trogon we saw on the trip. But it was really close. It was quite a lovely bird. There were other birds there too. It's the only other shot I have from that. It's a West Mexican chachalaca. So that's I had so many photos I just cut short because I wanted to show you my trip to Argentina, which I did in November. In fact, a year ago I was just returning home from Brazil. I went to Argentina and Brazil, and I go to Buenos Aires to dance tango. But there's this incredible park along the river that goes for miles. It's all wetlands, and there's just incredible birds there. So here's some of those birds. A brown and yellow marsh bird, which I think is a South American endemic, possibly just from Brazil and Argentina. Red-crested cardinal, makes our cardinals look a little drab. And my favorite, a straight-billed reed haunter. Great name, great bird. And this, we could hear it. I had a bird guide, and we could hear it. We couldn't find it, and all of a sudden it popped up right there. So, yeah. And then I love grebes. They're very beautiful, but the silver grebe, I think, is my favorite. So these are right there in Buenos Aires, in the city of several million people, but on the side too. And a bare-throated tiger heron. It's an immature, but it was very cooperative standing on that log. So from there, I think that day I flew to Sao Paulo, Brazil, visited my friend, and we drove up into the mountains. So I arrived late at night. I was completely exhausted. I wake up in the morning, and there's toucans and all kinds of things flying around. And I don't have any shots from up in the mountains, but then we went down to the coast to a beach town called Bertioga, and he knew a bird guide that lived in this place. It's a private development, and you drive in, and we went the night before just to check in with him, and I saw this bird first. So blonde crested woodpecker. That was in Bertioga itself, but we went to visit this guy, and there's a scarlet ibis roost. And so the scarlet ibis, it's not a great photo, but the scarlet ibises are coming in and flying over. I'd never seen them before except in a zoo. They're really incredible birds, and there were quite a lot of them. And as a side benefit, I got a boat-billed heron. Yeah. So those are all lifers. And then we went to the guy's house the next morning, and we were going to go on a boat to see where the scarlet ibises were during the day, but we couldn't find any scarlet ibises. But meanwhile, we get to his house, and he's got a pickup truck with a bunch of bananas in the back. And before he could even put them in the feeder, the birds are all over, like birds I've never seen before. So I saw like every tanager in Brazil at least in that part of Brazil. And so black-backed tanager, it's a blue honey creeper. I'm forgetting the names of the birds. I have them written down for just that reason, but I forgot.
I can look them up if you want.
What?
I've got them,
Oh,
I've got
great.
your slide titles here on mine, so, let's see, the tanager section, blackback, blue Daphnis was the last one. And
Okay,
this is the green-headed.
okay. There's the green, the honey creeper is that one, yeah. Okay. And Violaceous euphonia. I think the female's up above and then the other bird just sort of got in the way of the picture, but I don't mind. It was just, I mean, just constantly these birds are coming in and going. I mean, I saw 30 species of tanagers in this guy's yard, you know. And this is in like not a fancy development, but, you know, it's kind of a slummy development with little houses scattered about and, you know, wasn't a ton of habitat, but I guess there was enough. And then I think this is, the next one is my favorite one of all. Yeah, a red-backed tanager. And my wife said, it looks like some kindergartner colored this in, but just a stunning, stunning bird. And then the last bird I took in my driveway, I think it was in 2024 also, this just showed up one day. Budgerigar. And it's probably someone's pet.
Your driveway in Amherst?
Yeah, in North Amherst. And I was pretty surprised to see it, but I put out the word, nobody claimed it, and it disappeared the next day anyway, so. And that's all.
Josh is very clever about finding pictures on the internet. Anyway, this is, actually, it's from where I was this afternoon. They asked me to work for the first time in a couple months. But I'm a pediatrician. How do you advance? Oh, and I'm happy to mic.
Do you want the mic?
Well, and I wonder if the people on Zoom can hear us.
There's a mic here too.
Okay, so that button, okay. So anyway, but this is germane to my slides. So because I'm a pediatrician, I, since 1993, have almost every year done a trip abroad with an organization that used to be called Interplast, but we changed our name and we're now called Resurge, which sounds like research if you say it fast, but so we're the oldest plastic and reconstructive surgery organization in the world. And I don't have any fine motor skills with cameras or with medical instruments, but most of our patients are children, so I get to travel all over the world to see these children. And as I learned, not only do I get to feel really good about doing good work with wonderful people, but I get to see birds. And everywhere I go, they're different birds. So I should have this incredibly huge life list, but I'm not a lister and I'm not a photographer. I just like to get outdoors. And so if they can't find me in the hospital, they know to look in the parking lot and they'll find me with my binoculars. So anyway, this past year, I was sent to Kathmandu, Nepal, and I was really excited to go there because the surgeon that our group has worked with there, I have worked with several times in Vietnam. And he started the first plastic surgical program in Kathmandu in all of Nepal, and he now trains people. So we trained him and he trains them. And I went and I got to work with his pediatricians in a burn unit in a hospital that he helped build. And I had a day off at the end before I went on my real birding trip, which was to Bhutan. And I got to do a day of birding in Kathmandu. And I asked around for names of bird guides. We couldn't find one. But I went online and I met this guy whose name is Krishna. And Krishna took me to a mountain outside of Kathmandu where we did some wonderful birding. And this is my camera. So I don't have wonderful birding pictures, but I saw a lot of interesting birds with him. He was a great birder. And what I like about doing stuff like this is I get to meet local people and find out what they do. Well, Krishna is not, I asked him how in the world did he get into birding, and his father and uncle actually do have a touring company, but he is an artist, and he went to art school, but he said, I really liked painting pictures of birds. And so I did get one digoscoped picture of a lesser yellow, he told me the name of it this one, but anyway, it's a woodpecker. But then I asked him about his artwork, And this is the area that we were birding in, which is outside of Kathmandu. And Kathmandu is very noisy. It's a beautiful, fascinating historical town. But it was so wonderful to get outdoors and outside the city. But this is some of his artwork, which I was just astounded by. He's this young man in his late 20s and does this sort of stuff. That's him painting a butterfly, I believe. Another of his pieces. And they're not all birds, but a lot of them are, and they're just so finely detailed. I thought it was wonderful. So I had a day before I was flying home where he just met me and took me to part of the town I hadn't been to and sort of showed me around another area, big temple complex and everything. But before then, I brought him to the hospital because I told him what I was doing. And he said, boy, I would love to work with children in a hospital and maybe I could do something there. So for me, the best part of it was I got to introduce him to the pediatricians in the hospital. So that's him on the left and that's me on the right. And he's going to go paint murals in the burn unit and the pediatric unit there. So I just felt like, look, birding can do has all sorts of wonderful, sidelines that you would never expect. But and I've stayed in touch with him quite a bit, actually. He has a Facebook page. And he was even going to try and log in on Zoom, but it's like 5 o'clock in the morning there. Although I said you're a bird watcher. Bird watchers get up early. So anyway, when I left Kathmandu, I went to Bhutan. And I had met other birders who'd been to Bhutan. I have a friend in Poughkeepsie who'd been, and I asked him how did he go, and he said, we went through this expensive European company, you shouldn't do that. You should directly contact the guide that I contacted. And so I contacted this guy in Bhutan. I mean, the internet and email are just give you such wonderful access. So he booked this trip for me where I flew from Kathmandu to Paro, which is the most difficult airport to land a plane in, I learned. There's only 10 or 12 pilots that are actually allowed to land planes there. But he said, make sure that you're on the left side of the plane by the window, because then you get to see Mount Everest. I mean, who would have ever thought? So that was my view of Mount Everest, which was really amazing. That was a wonderful byproduct. So the nice thing, so the guy that I contacted is on the right. His name is Chupzang, and the person on the left is my guide, whose name is Chimi. And so I didn't bird with Chupzang. He was busy, but he wanted to meet me, so he came and met me and gave me a t-shirt. And Chimi was my guide for the week, and I also had a driver for the week. I love birding, but I had never been to Bhutan, and there's a lot more to see than birds there. So it was a wonderful combination, sort of cultural and birding trip where I got to visit all these temples. And Chimi, my guide, number one, spoke pretty good English. My Bhutanese is non-existent. I know they told me how to say please and thank you, but I can't remember. And he also knew lots of the history of his country, obviously. Bhutan is a very interesting country. They have a very young king. They love him. He is very environmentally conscious. He wants, I was in electric taxis. Because it is free to charge an electric car if you're outside of your own home. And he wants to increase the percentage of the country that is forested. You're not allowed to kill anything in Bhutan, not even a fish or anything you eat. They are not vegetarians or vegan, but they import fish and meat from other countries. So this is the Paro Valley, and you can't see, but so the airport is a little bit behind those mountains, and there were wonderful birds in the river that we saw. And they sort of booked me into several different hotels, but then we also got to visit the countryside. This is an area outside of where we stayed the first day, and there are all these burr flags. The tall white ones are raised when someone dies, but it's just made for sort of spectacular landscape, very high altitude. And there were lots and lots of birds, but I don't have pictures of them, so there's a couple. There were also a lot of the high altitude areas are where rhododendrons are native, and so there were all kinds of different rhododendrons in full bloom and wonderful wildflowers all over the place. We went to one national park where there happened to be a rhododendron festival going on, so I got to meet all these kids. And you'll notice some very strange objects on the table for sale behind them. They're phalluses, which are not considered sexual. They're considered good luck. So if you have one painted on your house or in your house, it's supposed to keep people from gossiping about you and make sure that you don't get betrayed or double-crossed by people. But these were all school kids, and that was a masked person that was dancing and all sorts of stuff going here. So we just happened upon this festival and then did all this incredible birding in the park around it. Oh, there's a real bird. So this was a Eurasian jay, which I had seen in Europe, of course, but I didn't expect to see it in the Himalayas. There were several kinds of monkeys along the road. Most of the wild, there aren't a lot of tourists there. There's no hunting, so animals are not really all that afraid of people, which is nice. And I can't remember which kind of monkey this is. We saw a couple times. So I stayed in a hotel in the capital city the first night, and I got up, and when I was eating dinner, these people were behind me. Well, little did I know the next morning, as we all got up at the crack of dawn, that all the birders were in the same hotel. They're a really nice couple from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and so we kept being at the same places. And so he would just say, "We're having breakfast with your friends. We're doing this with your friends," which was really nice to have company on the trip. So they had their guide, and I had mine, but we all hung out together for much of the time. They also had huge cameras and probably had much better pictures than I did. My guide was really good at interacting with people locally, which was just a joy for me to see. So we were looking at a kingfisher, which was down by the water. These kids were coming home from school, and he dragged them over because he wanted to make sure that they all saw the kingfisher. And they were trying to figure out what kind of bird it was. He was quizzing them and asking their name and stuff. This is just one of the many temples that we visited. They're just outstandingly beautiful, tons of woodwork in them. And it's not a country that's had wars. Some of them have burned down because there's a lot of wood in the temples. Oh, there's a kupa, which I've also seen in Europe and in Sri Lanka and in Africa, but this one I have to get a picture of. And there were quite a few of those around. And there were yaks. So when we got up into the really high areas, quite a few yaks. They're domesticated. And there are black-necked cranes that go to a valley in Bhutan and come back every year. They're very well protected. The German government helps support them, and there's a rehab center there. So I missed literally the last two cranes had left the day before I got there. So they come for the winter every year, and then they go back. But there was a very interesting film about them in the center, and they have a couple of them there that are, were injured, and they're trying to rehab them. But these two probably won't be able to go back into the wild. But it was, and that's the valley where the cranes come back to. And more monkeys, and more rhododendrons. There are three, in this part of Bhutan, three very famous kinds of pheasants, and I just looked at the name and still can't remember them, but very spectacular pheasants with blue and red and bright colors and interestingly, and they're way up in these high areas, so we had to get up at the crack of dawn to go see them. And we did see them. There's a wagtail, again, not endemic by any means, but at least it was a bird. There were all these primroses, and I'm a wildflower nut too, so it was just great for me to see all these different kinds of primroses blooming way, way up in the mountains. And there's more yaks. There were skeletons scattered through these fields. I mean, there's no fences or anything. And he said, "Oh, well, that's because the leopards and tigers come down sometime and they attack them." I said, "Oh, okay, well, I hope it's not when we're around." Oh, and this is my one video. So how do I do the video?
Yes, click on the image with the mouse.
So these are white-throated laughing thrushes, and I had seen them other places, but they were all over the place when we were climbing up to a place called the Tiger's Nest. And the Tiger's Nest was something like I had seen in National Geographic when I was a kid, and I never dreamed that I would ever get there. But it's just, I don't know, there'll be another picture. So that's my guide and my driver, and that's in traditional dress, which they wear all the time, but especially if they're going to a temple. But kids wear them, both men and women wear traditional dress all the time. That's the Tiger's Nest. And you go from like 10,000 to 12,000 feet to climb up there, so it was really quite an event for me. And this picture I really like because this kid had just passed his school tests. And again, my guide just sort of got talking to him and realized he was there by himself, but his grandparents told him, sure. Oh, okay. Oh, it's there, not here, okay. So his grandparents had told him that he had to go up to this temple and say a prayer because he had finished his school and passed his test. My guy didn't think he should be doing this on his own. So he said, will you come along with us? And the kid was so cute because he kept FaceTiming his parents and saying, I'm doing this with an American doctor going up here. But it was so nice of him because then he wasn't doing this on his own. I think it might be just another scene from up at the Tiger's Nest. Oh, and then we get to the hotel and he said, there's an owl. Would you like to see an owl? I said, sure. And I said, let me go get my binoculars. He said, you don't need your binoculars. So we walked to the stairwell, and this barred owl, I guess, is always sitting up there during the day in the last hotel that I stayed in. And this is just the airport. It's also one of the most beautiful airports that I've ever seen. But Chupzang, the guy that I connected with initially, these are huge. They're like 6 by 6 foot photographs that he has in the airport, and they're all of birds. So it got me geared up right when I arrived. And that's it.
Okay, I'm Mark Ketchen, and I want to show you a video that kind of summarizes a short trip that I and a companion took to Puerto Rico earlier this year. And it's on YouTube. Okay, how's that? All right.
Hold up closer to your mouth.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay, good enough. All right, so this is a short video that summarizes a fun trip to Puerto Rico that's somewhat different than the usual Caribbean vacation. So let me see if I can get there. Okay. And
The technically challenging part.
wow. Okay. Here we go. It is February and cold outside my home here in the northeastern U.S. There's a foot of snow on the ground and more coming down. I dream of Caribbean islands, tropical breezes, sunning on the beach, evening cruises on the bay, and sipping an occasional pina colada at the pool while sitting in an underwater bar stool. This time I picked Puerto Rico, a U.S. territory new to me, with a highway system that allows one to explore all around the island. Aha! And now that I am bird watching, it offers many birds and endemic species that can only be found there. On the first morning at a beach park in the island's capital, San Juan, there were city birds, rock pigeons with colorful legs, and a mother hen with several chicks in tow. Great Italian grackles were everywhere, and as I sat and watched the ocean surf, brown pelicans began diving for fish. In the lovely botanical gardens nearby, I saw scaly-necked pigeons, monk parakeets, red-legged thrushes, Oneida doves, gray kingbirds, and more. From San Juan, I traveled clockwise to the east, arriving at the lush rainforest in El Yunque, draped in fog. Rain, an overflowing stream, but then followed by a taste of clear blue skies. A banana quit came into view, and birds found only in Puerto Rico. Green mango, Puerto Rican tanager, Puerto Rican bullfinch, Puerto Rican flycatcher, and a Puerto Rican woodpecker in its nest hollowed out in a dead tree. In a nature preserve, there was a large iguana in a swamp, and herons were fishing in a stream at close range. A glossy ibis was found preening on a log in a small pond. In the island's southwest, at the Cabo Rojo salt flats, a mecca for wintering shorebirds, were countless black-necked stilts, feeding and talking. Black-bellied plovers, oyster catchers, killdeer, birdie turnstones, and different sandpipers. Yellowlegs, both lesser and greater, feeding in the shallow waters. Whale terns at rest. I stared at the clear blue ocean. Maybe I could go snorkeling, but there were more birds to find. An American kestrel watched from a post. A white-crowned pigeon, doves, and other colorful songbirds were perched on the power lines. A mangrove cuckoo on a tree. Up in the sky, a U.S. surveillance blimp was keeping an eye out for illegal traffic, and perhaps watching the shorebirds. And me? In another nature preserve, horses intersected my path. I calmed them down to get past. I was safe from this big cow feeding behind a fence. Turkey vultures were soaring above and perched on trees. On the island's northwest coast were cliffs where white-tailed tropic birds nest and are seen flying over the ocean. Further along the north coast, cooling off in two small ponds by a farm, were many cows, ducks freely passing between their legs, and an abundance of ibises and shorebirds. One cow loudly objected to my camera. I moved away discreetly. On the morning of the last day, I saw hundreds of cave swallows lined up on a power line, and cattle egrets atop flowering trees. I watched the ocean one last time, and a snowy egret was fishing at a surf-pounded reef. It was time to say goodbye, all too soon. The week had passed. I had forgotten my dream of relaxing at a tropical resort, and instead immersed myself in admiring the ever-changing scenery of the island and observing its colorful wildlife. Okay, thank you. How do we get out of
It's
this?
a very high standard.
That was why I made him go near the end.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, don't break your leg.
Okay. So I don't have a lot of pretty pictures. I don't do that kind of thing. And I'm Dave Gross, by the way, and that's me.
He's the person who puts out that newsletter that you all.
Yeah, I do that. I do a couple things. Anyway, many of you probably know I'm a retired college professor. I've been retired for 6 years. I haven't given an exam in 6 years, and I thought, well, you know, it's the time to give an exam. So I'm going to turn the tables here. It's all on you to take the exam and do the best you can. So I've got 10 slides I'm going to show you. I'll go through them fairly slowly. You can make team, I always encourage my classes to do team-based stuff. So you can make teams you go into. Top score perfect score is 55 points. The points for each slide are in the top corner of the slide. And there's one opportunity to get some extra points if you'd like. So I will ask you to silently or quietly, if you're going to team up, figure out what the answer is, if you can figure it out. And then don't shout it out, though. We'll go through the slides, and then we'll go back to the beginning, and then go through and we'll do the grading. So I hated to grade, so you're all going to have to do your own grading. Okay, you got it? All right, so it's very simple, 10-question bird quiz. Every one of them is bird themed. Here's number 1. Now, don't shout out the answer if you get it. That's okay, and you want to figure out, if you have teams, and you at home, you can play too. All right, this is worth 1 point. Here's the next one. Oops, sorry. Go back. There we go. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, that's number 2. I will say that as the points grow, the difficulty might increase a little bit, and the obscurity of the answers might increase. All right, that's number 2. So you already saw number 3. Here's 3. Okay, a lot of letters there, alphabetical order. They're all bird related. Okay, here's number 4. Whoops. Boy, I don't know why it's hopping. There we go. That's number 4. Worth 4 points. 55 is the max. I think if you get 35, you're probably doing really good. Okay, that's number 4. Here's number 5. No letters now. Number 5. Okay. Number 6. Worth 6 points. Ready to move on? Number 6. Go back about 15. Okay. We'll go back through these again. We'll go back through them again. Okay. Here's number 7. All bird related. Number 7. Number 7. Okay. Number 8. Ooh, number 8, worth 8 points. It's a juicy one. Number 8. There's number 9. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go back through them again so you have a second chance here. There's number 9. Bird related. All right, here's number 10. We're 10 points. It's a good one. Okay, I see Professor Spector's there. The wheels are turning in his hand. Okay, so where's my cursor? All right, I'll go through them again for you. All right, so there's 1, and then we'll do the answers. So I'll go through one more time. There's 1. There's 2. There's that really long string, 3. There's 4, short string. There's 5. Derek's thinking. No, there's 6. There's 7. This one's going to have the bonus points on it. And there's 8. I'll slow down for the last ones. I'll give you a second with that one. Here's 9. I'll give you a little more than a second with that one. And then this obscure 10. Bird related. Bird related. Oh, I think Professor Spector may have an idea now. Okay, all right. Time for the grading. Somebody want to, now, we can just, anybody want to tell me what the bird-related thing is here?
Eagle.
Eagle, right. Now you can see the EAG, all right, eagle, okay. Good. Everybody who got that, you, 1 point for you now. Here's number 2, and canary, oh, great, okay, so add 2, so you get 3 points, okay. Number 3, a little harder. What does he think it is? Anybody?
Can you see it the first time?
Say what? Can you see it on the Christmas count? Well, you're assuming it's the name of a bird. You're right, it is the name of a bird. Unlikely, but possible.
D hints, first letter.
No, nobody? Oh, is somebody on saying online? I just hear a laugh. Okay. You're not going to get this one? Start with the M.
I think Sue Everson has it.
Oh, what does Sue say?
I can't tell.
I can't really hear her either. Oh,
said-
yes, Emerson does have it. So, Sue, you're going to get 3 points. Meadowlark. Oh, well, so I guess you guys didn't get 3 points. All right, what's this one? Anybody? Peahen, right, very good. So a little bit different. Now that one. Turkey, very good. My wife was stumped on that one. House sparrow. Exactly right. All right. Keep adding the points now. I mean, you get your points there. Whoop 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 whoop. Now what? Before you now just think about this for a second. What this might be. So, anybody want to say what you?
4 robins.
Okay, so you say robins. All right. Well, okay, so it could be a group of robins. That's a possibility. If the robins, are they American robins or are they European robins? Or
Robins is not
well, okay, so if you just said robins, I'll give you the points. You get 7 points. I was thinking a group of robins, so the things that I found, a blush of robins, a breast of robins, a bobbin of robins, that's apparently one, and round of robins. All right, so now for the bonus points. You get 1 bonus point for each, they're all actors here. You get 1 bonus point if you can name the actor and 1 bonus point if you can name the role. All right, so on the left there, what's the role? Robin, right? Robin, Batman. Who's the actor? TV show. What? Burt Ward. Very good. Okay, so you each get 1 extra. You get 2 points there. Okay, then top middle. Robin Williams. What's the role?
Good Morning Vietnam.
Adrian Cronauer. That's Good Morning Vietnam. Okay, the bottom center. Errol Flynn, and the role is
Robin Hood.
Very good. And on the far right, Robin on the right, Robin right. And what's the role? It's from House of Cards, the American version. Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten this one either. She was Claire Underwood. All right, so you got several extra points, so add them all up. Keep track. Okay.
Carlos Santana's on the left.
What's the bird link here, though?
Cooper's Hawk.
Say what?
Cooper's Hawk.
Cooper's Hawk. Nope. Not right. Not Cooper's Hawk. Anybody? Does anybody know the actor on, let's see, on the right? And nobody knows who that is on the left? Oh, it's Kid Rock. Okay, you got that part. So what Kid Rock, what's the bird link here? What the heck? Huh? Anybody? Bruce, you got it? No? You guys don't recognize the guy on the right? No, Kid Rock is on the left, for sure. It has to do with the last names of the people. Rock.
Rock pigeon.
Pigeon. It's a rock pigeon. So I don't know if anybody got points on that one. I told you to get harder. Okay.
Last time you could do this one.
All right. Now they get a little obscure. So what? Oh, yeah, a little.
It's a ruby something hummingbird.
I'm not being that obvious on this one. No, it's something different. I mean, there are clues here, right? There's a picture of a particular kind of bird, and then, there's a calendar. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the calendar. Anybody? Anybody online got it?
Hummingbird migration.
No, not hummingbird migration. No, sorry. That would be a reasonable, that's not what I had in mind, though. And of course, my answer is the right answer. So it has to do with the name of the month. The name of the month.
March.
Has to do with the name of the month, and the year is not quite right. Also, if you notice, it's the wrong year. I mean, it's this year, it's in the past.
Migration season?
No, not migration season. It has to do with those specific 5 letters. M-A-R-C-H.
Oh.
M-A-R-C-H. Charm, yeah, charm. A group of hummingbirds, of course, is a charm. Oh, you think that was a bad one? How about this one? How about this one? What's the bird link here? Teacher bird? Teacher bird? No, it's not a teacher bird. Ah, scolding. That sounds promising. Oh, what about scold? Think back to the previous one, what that was about. Discipline? No, not discipline.
David,
no.
this is very traumatic for me.
That was the whole idea, Joseph.
Is that you in the chair?
Yes, yeah.
Schooling?
Not schooling, no. That would be reasonable, but that's not what I had in mind. It has to do with the collection of birds.
Yeah.
I guess you figured that out. Huh?
Walking.
A scold of, anybody? Professor? Do you know the scold of? Okay. It's a scold of jays. Yeah, I had to look that one up. I didn't know that one at all. Okay, so that one was a big 10-pointer. All right, so anybody get a perfect score? Did anybody make it to 30? Well, I think you all did a great job. So give yourselves all a big hand. You know? And Josh, it's back to you, I guess.
Yes, I think that does it. So thank you, Professor David, and thank you everyone who participated tonight. That was great. Oh, and I put this up to get us in the mood for Sunday for the Christmas count. So this is the map of Christmas bird counts in our area with the one we're, our very own Northampton count right in the middle, but also for people who, like people like me who can't stop at just one Christmas count. There's a map of the other Christmas counts in the area, which are mostly happening on different days, so you can do several if you want.
Microphone, please.
Yeah, in fact, if anyone's free on December 27th and wants to go down and count birds in Southwick, I have an opportunity for you. So come ask me about that later if it sounds like a good time to you. So, in any case, thank you everyone who participated. Thank you for everyone who was in the audience and listened. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you all in Zoom on Zoom in January. And like I said, I will let you know who the program will be coming from then. And everybody who's here in person, remember please, we want 6 chairs around each table in that other room. And once all the tables have 6 chairs, any leftover chairs can get stacked up like usual. So, thank you everyone and good night. Oh, yes. That was fun. It's not even 9 o'clock yet. I was worried we'd be like here till 11.